Jack? Where's Jack? Where is he? Jack, I want to see you. Great job, Jack. Thank you. What a job you do. You know, we have an incredible thing. We're always talking about the fake news and the bad, but we have guys, and these are the guys who should be getting Pulitzers.
All right, Jack Posobiec, here we are back, Human Events Daily. We're in Phoenix, Arizona, the Charlie Kirk studio. So, talked about Antifa the last segment, talked about how today, yes. And by the way, send your email. By the way, if you have a sobriety story or you're interested in getting involved with sobriety, send us an email, 1776@humanevents.com, 1776@humanevents.com, and we can either direct you to resources or maybe we'll read it or something, but just putting it out there that if you want to reach out, this is a place you can reach out to, 1776@humanevents.com. But there's some people in this country that don't want us to reach out and have conversation and have dialogue and make connections. There's some people who want to shut down all of that. One of those groups is the ADL and has been for quite some time. Kenny Cody is the opinion editor over at humanevents.com, and Kenny has written a story all about it. What's up, Kenny?
What's going on, Jack, brother? It's good to see you.
Good to see you as well. So Elon Musk, I think, really got the ball rolling on this a couple of days ago, or I guess yesterday now, where he put up on Twitter that the ADL is a hate organization, and actually came over the top and pointed out that the ADL has listed Turning Point USA as a hate organization. And then you have got the headline, ADL still smears TPUSA with, quote, hate, extremism, and terrorism labels, even after our founder, Charlie Kirk, was murdered on campus. Kenny, you were looking into this. Elon's been putting pressure on it. He responded to me yesterday on Twitter about it. What did you find when you dug into this?
Well, the ADL has something called a glossary of extremism and hate, where they blatantly, ambiguously describe all these groups as either having members associated with extremism, members associated with hate, with bigotry, and doesn't really give a lot of an explanation. Now, I think when I actually looked up the term Turning Point USA on the website, they just said that there have been some comments, some perceived actions that can be interpreted as extremist. So they're not even outright listing actual examples of any member of Turning Point USA doing anything that's extremist or hateful, yet are listing them in a glossary and a dictionary full of terms that can be associated with neo-Nazis, with fascists, with all of these blatant terms that have been used to incite violence against conservatives, used to incite violence against Christians, and they've refused to take it down. They have not apologized for it, and they still label Antifa in comparison as, well, they can sometimes be violent and they can sometimes be hateful, but usually they're not. So comparing these two groups, they are labeling Christian conservatives that are going up and holding voter registration drives and speakers on college campuses to host debates with college students to counteract the indoctrination going on in college campuses, but yet they're labeling a group in Antifa that literally have murdered people, that have literally protested in streets and destroyed businesses and cities from the inside out as, well, they're mostly peaceful and they mostly do not participate in violence. It is a direct incitement. They have blood on their hands, and the ADL should be ashamed in using the tropes they have had for peace and defamation in order to incite violence and this rhetoric that have led to things like Charlie Kirk's death, have led to things like Charlie Kirk's assassination, and incited violence against Christian conservatives in this country.
Well, and Kenny, I can pull this up, and Libs at TikTok, she had a piece that went really big on it as well, and she's got the actual glossary. So here's the ADL's entry on Antifa. Antifa is a decentralized, leaderless movement composed of loose collections of groups, networks, and individuals who are vigorously opposed to fascism and focused on countering right-wing extremists both online and on the ground. While some Antifa adherents have engaged in violence or vandalism at rallies and events, this is not the norm, despite disinformation campaigns that suggest otherwise. So Antifa is great, and they may have gotten into a little tomfoolery, but that's really disinformation that Antifa is violent. Okay. All right, now let's compare that to Turning Point USA. Turning Point USA. Turning Point USA is an Illinois-based right-wing student organization founded by Charlie Kirk in 2012. The organization's stated mission is to identify, educate, train, and organize students to promote the principles of freedom and liberty. Turning Point USA was connected to many controversial incidents, including problematic comments by TPUSA founder Charlie Kirk, the Glossary of Extremism and Hate. So you look at the two, and the Antifa one includes this strange statement saying that they're not involved in violence, but the Turning Point example is just completely written as if Turning Point USA is some kind of extremist statement. It's bizarre to me. It's completely bizarre.
It's blatant and it's intentional is what it is. It is literally trying to divide the country into the things they see on television. They have seen Antifa ride in the streets. They've seen Antifa assault police officers, and they've seen Antifa indoctrinate young youth minds to convince them that people like Charlie Kirk was a fascist and a Nazi. And that's what led to his assassination. It's what leads to violence against conservatives, and they should be absolutely ashamed of the way that they have conducted themselves and drew a line between the youth in this country, have drew a line between the political ideologies in this country. They've seen how Antifa is portrayed on mainstream media, how it's been covered in the riots in 2020 and throughout the last 10 years, and that they want to try to convince us that Turning Point USA is the extremist group, that they are the extremist Nazis, neo-fascists, and yet they have still not taken this down after the assassination of Charlie Kirk. It is absolutely disgusting.
Guys, I'm looking at it right now, just as we're talking, and I'm going to ask the producers real quick, can you pull this up? Because I'm not finding the Turning Point page in there. I'm thinking it's possible they may have hidden it or archived it or made it, unsearchable or something, because I've got the link to it, but when I go to the link, it just takes me back to the ADL's main site. Yeah, I can't find a direct link to it. Okay, so you know what? I found the page. Now the page is up. So Kenny, this is what they're doing. They're playing games, right? They're playing games where if you go to the main link for Turning Point, you can't find that, but you can still find the article if you search the website itself. I just found that. This is what they do. Oh, look at this. Updated 9/29/2025. Gotta love that. You gotta love that. And I don't see any... Yeah, I don't see any update about what happened or Charlie Kirk has promoted conspiracy theories. He's made bigoted comments about the black community, the LGBT community, minority groups. TPUSA leaders claim they reject white supremacy, but white nationalists have openly attended their events. And wow. So yeah, look at that, Kenny. It says they've updated something on 9/29, but I can't even find... Oh, okay, here's what it is that Charlie Kirk's murder, it's right at the top now. After Charlie Kirk's death, a number of anti-Semitic and anti-Israel conspiracies related to the murder gained traction. And so, look at this. So, Kenny, even in their update, all they're doing is still attacking people for what they claim is anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. There's nothing in there about saying, oh, maybe we shouldn't have done this to Charlie Kirk. So they still find a way to turn that to attack, because here's the key. This is a business model for them. They've turned hate, smears, and censorship into a business model. That's what the ADL does. So you're never going to see them apologize. You're never going to see them back down, because if they were to do so, then they wouldn't be able to keep raking in all the money they do. And by the way, this is a group which, last time I checked, and certainly during the Obama administration, built very close relationships with the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, and local police forces all over the country. Kenny, why are we doing that?
Because we have been convinced that tolerance is such a virtue for conservatives and for progressives, and it shouldn't be for things like this. Just because somebody has said something that is ambiguously interpreted as the ADL wants to interpret as hateful does not mean they need to work directly with the State Department. They don't need to work with any types of the federal government to target conservatives, to target activists, to target people who want to have a conversation. And that's exactly what they did. And let's not forget, this is a tax-exempt organization. This is is somebody who gets federal funding and gets taxpayer money. If anybody in Congress, and Jack, you say it all the time, we are tired of strongly worded letters. We are tired of simple just tweets and press conferences. I want to see action. I want to see our federal government take action against the ADL. They deserve to lose their tax-exempt status. They deserve to lose any type of federal or state funding that they get from any type of state government or federal government in this country, because things like the ADL has done has led to the assassination of Charlie Kirk. They said murder of Charlie Kirk and they said death of Charlie Kirk in their entry into this glossary. I noticed that as well. They're not willing to call it a political assassination because they know the political terms that they use in the glossary have led to the assassination. They are complicit in blood libel. They are complicit in the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and they should be held accountable for it.
Kenny Cody held an incredible vigil for Charlie Kirk recently, and he's doing a lot of great work over at humanevents.com. Make sure you're there. You're following him. We'll be right back with America's Voice.